for cold, hard sports talk with your hosts, Ty Gore, Matt Barrett, and Jake Woods.
All right, boys, we are here now with our guest, Mitch O'Keefe, coach of Innsbruck in the Ice Hockey League. What I say quite often is the funniest named league in the world, the International Central European League, which is also ice, like what we play on. Funniest league name in the world. I love it. But yeah, Mitch O'Keefe, how is it going?
It's going well. Season's over now, so just trying to get settled into watching video of players, recruiting. And we just had our son join the family, so we're trying to get used to that too. So sleepless nights, a lot of video, but it's nice to have that family time now. The season's long and hectic, especially this one with COVID, the restrictions, at weekly testing, and the outbreak we had in the team. It's nice to kind of take a step back now and just regroup a bit and refocus.
Yeah, like you said, about what was it, a week ago? You had your son.
Yeah, just last week. So April 1st. So he's a jokester.
Well, congratulations there. Glad everyone's healthy and at home now. So we want to get into talking about your career. Want to start right at the beginning. You played some junior hockey in the CJHL. Had a nice little resume there. League champion. Had a player of the year, most valuable player, first team all-star. Just tell us about like your junior days, you know, what that league was like, the CJHL, and like what your kind of mindset as a hockey player was at that time.
At that time, it's always tough at that age when you're young, 15, and you're going OHL, you're going college, and it's so early to make that decision. And it was nice for me to be in that league because it's my hometown, home area. So the farthest road trips were 2 hours. The league was pretty good. There was about 50 scholarships every season coming out of that league. So it was nice to stay home, focus on school, probably focused on hockey more than school, but it was a good spot for me to develop, play and start at a young age. And it is a good league. A lot of guys still get out of there, either go both routes. So I know we had some success there. We had a great group of guys, and it was a pretty tight league with everyone knew everybody. So sometimes it felt like it was an organized beer league because where are you going after the game? We'll meet you guys down in the cabin, having a good time. So it was a great spot to really work on your network too and have a lot of fun playing hockey.
So you won the championship there in your last year. Can you just walk us through like your championship run? Was there any good stories? What was kind of like the through line of that playoff push?
Oh, it's funny. I played 5 years in that league, and I played on 5 different teams. So I was a bit of a suitcase, but I never left home, so it worked out okay. But the year before, we lost in Game 7 in the finals, 1-0. So, and then I hurt my ankle that summer after my MVP year, and I broke it in 3 spots. So I didn't start playing again until March. And I got traded because no one knew. I had a scholarship already, but no one knew if I'd be able to bounce back. So I joined in with Hawkesbury, and we had a really young team. I think the average age was 17. But we had some great kids on that team, really fast, really dedicated, great coach in Eric Veyer, who moved on to bigger and better. I think he's now in Syracuse. He was in the AHL. Awesome coach, loved playing for him, a lot of passion. But it was a roller coaster. I think we were ranked out of the 150 teams in Canada. I think we were 100. But we got hot at the right time and things clicked, and it was an amazing experience playing with that group. I still think about it all the time, to be honest.
Now, we've heard some fun championship stories in our day. We've heard from unnamed sources that the WHL championship does float. We've heard that the Alberta Junior A championship, you can take it apart and scribble your name on the inside to sort of leave that for future generations. Any good stories about the CJHL championship?
I can't remember the after party that well, but it was long. It was fun. But we went on to go to the Fred Page Cup, and we ended up winning that. We played 7 games in 8 days, and we ended up winning 6 out of the 7. So I do have a memento from that cup. I took the stick off the player on the top, and I still have it at home, I think, in my trophy case.
What? Just like you took like a piece of the trophy?
Yeah, the stick fell off, so yeah, I'll just put that and bring that back for the boys.
I can get a new one.
Yeah, we had it taped up in the room when we got back because we went to the RBC after that, and we taped it up on the wall. But we ended up losing in the RBC in quadruple overtime in the semifinals to Weyburn, who ended up winning. It was quite a run. It was a wild, wild run.
Now, not to dwell on, unhappy memories, but just as a goalie losing a quadruple overtime game like that, what's just like the sink when you realize you didn't get the one that went in?
Yeah, it was completely deflating. I remember they forechecked behind the net, and the guy that got traded with me, Giannetti, he was a good buddy of mine and still is, and he coughed it up behind the net, popped in front, went right through the old 7-hole between the old blocker and body, and that's when you realize my junior career is done, and it's just a lot to take in. You see the other guys celebrating, and it's hard. It was really hard, but it was a great career playing juniors and a lot of memories, a lot of stories, and yeah, then you had to just get moving on to the next thing, and then we had a good party on the way home too after that.
So actually,
Jake knows all about the 7-hole.
Yeah.
That was textbook.
Yeah.
I also wasn't great at 1 through 6 holes. So
Yeah.
it's pretty easy to beat me there too.
Yeah.
Actually do want to ask about that 04-05 year. So you mentioned deep playoff run, 7 games in 8 days at the Fred Page Cup, a quadruple overtime game. Once the dust settled, once you got home, you're all set and done. Just was the body taxed, or was the benefit of still being 20 working in your favor and you were still itching to go to next year?
I'll be honest, I was never one to lift a weight until I had to. It was different back then. Like, I could rely on skill, and I was kind of like a Phil Kessel type body, I didn't lift a weight till I went to college, and they make you do it. But it's different. The game's different now. Everyone's working out at 15, and they're just machines now. You can't get away with that anymore. But yeah, I had a bit of rest, and then Derek Lalonde came and put me through the training program in Ottawa. Said, get ready for next year. You need to make a big leap physically to be successful at the NCAA, to keep up. And it took me a couple of years to actually get to that spot where I needed to be physically. And it was a grind. It was not easy. It was something else. But they put a lot of work into me in Ferris in 3 years, and I couldn't thank them enough.
One of your goaltending partners through your junior days was Ilya Izhov, if I'm pronouncing that right, who is also a former Melfort Mustang, and a lot of our listeners are from the Melfort area and know about Izhov. What was he like to play with as a goaltender? Because obviously you played with him in his early career in the junior A ranks.
Yeah, one of the hardest working players I've ever seen. Like, unbelievable athlete, great shape, pure warrior, competitor mindset. I knew at that age, he was 15, 16, I'm like, this kid's going somewhere. Like, he never got off the ice. He was always working, always rehabbing, like stretching. And I'm sitting there just watching him, like, take it easy. Like, you're making me feel bad here, like, relax a little. But he's a killer mindset, and you could see he's had so much success in the KHL, and he's deserves everything coming to him. He's a great guy, a great human being, and he's an awesome guy to have on your team.
So then you went on to play at Ferris State University. What was the offers on the table going to college? What led you to go to Ferris State, and so what was the situation going to college?
I had a couple offers. I was talking to Maine at the time. They wanted me to come down for a visit, but I already verbally committed to Ferris. I was talking to Michigan too before I broke my ankle, but I committed to Ferris early, even though other teams or clubs or schools are asking me to come down. But my dad said, you shook their hand. You're not going anywhere else. You're stuck there. You're going to enjoy it and do what you can there and leave a better person. Make it better than where you left it, type thing. So I was a man of my word. I stayed there. There were some great guys that came out of that league that went there and said nothing but good things about Ferris. It's a small school, only D1 program in the school. Students about 15,000, so it's decent enough size, and they just had a blast. And the recruiting trip was a lot of fun too, so it was easy to convince me then.
Tell us about the recruiting trip. Like, what was the sales pitch that got you signed on?
Getting to start right away. I did, like, if I went to Maine, I would have been with Ben Bishop. I would have been riding the pine for 4 years. You know what I mean? So you try to find the best opportunity. I liked Derek Lalonde. He recruited me. He was an awesome person, a great coach, and now he is in Tampa. Just won a cup. So he was a big part of it to make that, got me to go there. And also my coach in junior said, you're going to get a chance right away. Lou Nistico, the GM, passed away this year. He was the one said, you want to go here. It's the best opportunity for you. And asking the players, like I said, they just said it's an awesome place, fun time, good league too. The CCHA at the time, the Michigan State, Notre Dame, Miami, Ohio was very strong at that time. Lake State, a lot of good schools. So it was a good experience.
I don't think, and that's kind of one thing you mentioned it, like, I don't think a lot of people realize that when kids are talking to universities and colleges down in the States, it's not always the big name of, North Dakota or Minnesota or whatever. It's sometimes the opportunity that's better than, the school name itself. Right.
Yes, exactly. You want to put yourself up for success, set yourself up for success. So you got to go to a place that suits you best, not just because it's a big name. Like Maine is an amazing school, like in the East Coast, East side there. But like I said, Ben Bishop's there, 6'8" monster. Like, I'm not going to get in the net. So what's the point? So you got to go where it's best suits for you.
Yeah. And you did have some like pretty solid, especially your third year looking at that roster, you had some solid players on the team. You had Adam Miller, who was a longtime pro, playing in Asia, playing in the East Coast, playing, I believe, in the A for a bit. You had a guy with NHL experience, Zach Redmond, on that team. Oh, yeah. Brendan Connolly, who's playing over in the United Kingdom's league, the EIHL.
Yeah.
What was that locker room like? Was there like a lot of guys who kind of got the sense we're going to go on to have pro careers?
I think it was the year before was such a bad year for our club. We had some tough leadership, some seniors that didn't really do what they needed to do. But after that year, everyone we had a great freshman class coming in, like you said, like Redmond, Waitekka, Mbach, Nagel, the other goalie who's playing in Grand Rapids right now. And he made me compete for starts. And then having the guy like Redmond could have put up a point a game on the D. Like, we had a good class coming in, and we had some good pieces there already. And it changed. The mindset changed on everybody. We knew we were more competitive. I think we made playoffs. We lost to Notre Dame in the third game, best of 3 by 1 goal. I think it was a heartbreaker, but I think they went on to win that year, or they lost in the finals. I can't remember, but we gave them a good run. And yeah, it was a good club, a good season there. And a lot of those guys wanted to keep playing, like Miller. And I played with him in Vegas. He had an amazing year there. Then he had an amazing year in Asia, like you said, and Connolly's still kicking. He's still putting up numbers, and he was a firecracker to play against. And you should see the suspension videos if you YouTube them. Some pretty funny ones.
Any particular ones come to mind that we should go searching for?
I think there was one in Denmark when he was playing and just lines up against this huge 6'8" guy. He just spears him right in the nuts, right off the face off. The guy couldn't even move. He just he's like a little Theo Fleury. He skates away. Nothing phases him. Yeah. He was a treat.
It's knocking him down to size is what that is.
Yeah, chip away.
The great equalizer, as they call it.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, you mentioned it there, the difference between your second year in 06-07 and the 07-08 year. Your save percentage went from an 885 to a 920, so huge improvement there. And then following that season, you had a little cup of coffee in the AHL with the Iowa Stars. What was that call like? Was Iowa just the first team who called? What was sort of the mindset before your pro debut?
I was with Bill Zito was my agent at the time. Oh. I think he's GM now in Florida. So like, he had a lot of contacts. He said, hey, pack up your shit. You're going down to Grand Rapids as on a PTO. And that was down the road an hour. Jimmy Howard was up in the show at the time. So I went there. And I trained with them for 2 weeks, got me more shape than I was actually sharing the net in college in practice because we had 4 goalies. So when I went there for a full practice, I was gassed. I couldn't even stand up by the end of it. And then I had to stay out longer just to show how hard I'd worked. But by the time that was over, Howard came back. I got a call again from Billy going to Iowa. And then now I was in shape. I could last in practice. I was able to keep up with the tempo. So I wasn't starstruck when I got there. I was ready and prepared for it. And then it was pretty awesome. I got to meet Andy Moog, who I loved watching growing up, and he was the goalie coach. Matt Climby was there. He was a young guy right out of college from Bemidji, a great person, great human. Still keep in contact with him. Yeah, it was a great experience, and I find playing in the A, you could read the game better. You could see where they're developing the play, the tape to tape passes. You're not bumblefuck to the corner, bounce in front, easy tapping goals. It was very structured, very quick, but it was a lot easier as a goalie I find in the A than it was in the Coast.
Do you remember your first pro game?
Yeah, in Peoria. I forget who was in the other end, but it was. My dad made the trip. He was pretty pumped to come see, which was nice. But yeah, it was definitely a good memory. We didn't get the win though. I know that.
That's something I've always wondered, going back to your last point of in a much lower level sense, you see that happen too, where working as a coach over in Edmonton at the minor level, you'll see like a kid come back from like AAA or AA tryouts and go to a skate with the tier 1 team, and all of a sudden they're bumbling because like you're going from getting lasers to getting muffins, and like the structure falls apart. So I've always wondered at a professional level how much the structure on both ends helps and hurts how you play that.
Well, I think it's AHL, always hungry league. You know, those guys are trying to make it to the top. The East Coast, there's guys there played 18 holes, had a couple of hot dogs, and they come to the game. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. It's a mindset of some guys in that league. But I find now the Coast has really improved. It's a lot better now that the CHL has stopped and those teams joined, and a lot of those farm teams are with the NHL teams too now. So they get a lot of good talent, young talent, and it's improved a ton, I think, over the last 10 years. And it doesn't get enough credit for the level of play that it actually is.
So the following season, after you finished up at university and had a cup of coffee with Iowa, you started the year with Binghamton for 6 games there with the Senators, and then ended up in Elmira of the East Coast. What was that season like? What was the transition down to the East Coast, and what led to that?
You know what? That was a really strange year for me. First experience in pro hockey. It was kind of like going right into Slapshot, the movie, to be honest. Like, it was something else in Elmira. I didn't like it right off the bat. Maybe it was just the city, the situation. But Binghamton, it was a great group of guys there. But yeah, like I said, the level was just such a big difference from the A to the Coast. And I wasn't quite sure if I was going to take pro hockey serious at that time. I still was acting pretty immature. I didn't really know where I was going to go in life. Should I start work? Should I keep playing? And it was a lot of the self-reflection and thinking of what should I do? Where should I go? But after that, I spent the summer working, and I hated it, working for the city in Ottawa, and the opportunity in Utah jumped, and I just grabbed it right away. I couldn't wait. I needed to get back on the ice and put the pads back on. And it just makes you realize that it's pretty lucky to play a game that you love, and don't ever take it for granted. That's for sure.
And I mean, good thing you did, because you consider it's not often you see someone go from like considering if it's something they want to do or not, to then having a real solid 8 more years left. Yeah. Typically when people feel like, I'm not sure this is what I want to do, they don't end up playing 8 more years at a high level.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. I think it was a realization, just like, this is something I want to pursue more. And I dove right into it, trained a lot more, did a lot more with goalie coaches in the summertime, spent a lot more time coaching too in the summertime, because I knew I wanted to stay in the game after playing. And yeah, I just put in more work and just don't let it get away from you. And like I said, if you can do something you love, it's not work at all. You never work a day in your life. So that's kind of life I realized I wanted to live. So just went that way.
Any big memories of your time either in Elmira or in Utah with the Grizzlies?
Geez. It's a while back.
It's been a minute. We're looking back 10 years now, 10,
Yeah.
10, 11 years.
Geez, I don't know. Nothing really stands out, to be honest. Nothing really, no. It was a grind, to be honest. It's a lot of games, 72 games on a bus for 30 hours, gone from home for 2 weeks. A lot of great times with the guys, going out for meals and after games, going out together and spending a lot of time together. But yeah, it's nothing crazy really that I could really think of.
So then after a couple seasons
not a juicy answer for what you wanted.
No worries at all. I'm sure we'll find some juicy stories later on in your career. But after a couple of years in the East Coast, you decided for the first time in your career to head overseas. You're playing in the Austrian Pro League with a Slovenian team. At the time, it was known as the EBEL, the league you're now coaching in, the Ice Hockey League. What was the decision like? Was that like something you talked about with your agent, like you wanted to go overseas, or was it just another offer on the table that you decided to go with?
I think like from the summer before, I didn't get an offer until October to go to Utah, so I didn't want to wait. So when the opportunity came up, an agent called me. He's like, I have a job for you in a good league, but you're going to share the net. You're going to have to fight for ice time. I was like, screw it. Let's go for a life experience. I had my fiance at the time with me, and we looked at pictures of where they said we live. It was beautiful. It bled Slovenia. You could see it on screensavers everywhere. It's a picturesque place. So we went there, but I'll be honest, that was a fucking nightmare. It was nuts. We had to move. We got kicked out of our hotel. We had to live in a hotel all year. We got kicked out of our room because the teams wouldn't pay the bill. So I'd go to the rink, come back. My wife's on the curb with other wives and kids with their suitcases packed, getting kicked out. We're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what are we going to do? I'm supposed to have a game tonight. You know what I mean? Like, I got to deal with this stuff. Yeah, it was something else, but at least we got our money, and it was an experience. That's for sure.
Yeah. In Slovenia, is Anze Kopitar, like, are there statues of him around Slovenia?
Oh, he's a legend there. Absolute legend. Yeah, it's crazy. That country I think was about 1 million people at that time, but it was one of the best hockey countries at the time too. They made it to the Olympics. Like, it's a passion there, a real passion. And it was pretty cool to play for Jesenice against Ljubljana, the only two teams in the country that are in the higher level, and it was packed. There's flares going off, drums, the whole game, police escorts out of the city, eggs thrown at the bus. Like, it was like a soccer match, Barca, like first Barca. Like, it was crazy. It was wild, but it was an awesome time there too, on that side of it. But
yeah, because that was like the year that they played in the Olympics in Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, it was pretty. They love hockey there. They just love it. It's nice that we're getting them back, one of the teams in the league again next year with Ljubljana.
Oh, they're coming over from the Alps?
Yeah, they're moving up. And Brunico, as well from Italy, and Zanome from the Czech league are coming back too. So it's 14 teams next year. And it was really tough league this year, and it'll be better, I think, next year.
Nice. That's always good to see countries like that. I know maybe it just feels like this being in Canada, but it feels like Slovenia is a country that a lot of like unaffiliated people like to cheer for. Just like seeing them go like in the Sochi Olympics when they went and they beat Slovakia, and then even in 2018 when they beat the US team without NHLers.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like that's like a country that a lot of people want to have success in hockey.
Yeah, you always want to cheer for the underdog, eh? That's good to see. That's for sure.
So then the following season after that, was there any desire to stay in Europe, or was it kind of you wanted to come back stateside?
Well, it was such a bad experience for my first time. Even the guys I played with, they say that this isn't what Europe hockey's like. It's just a tough spot right now. And they ended up, I think, folding out of the league 2 years later. But there was a lot of history with that club, and I don't want to speak bad about them in any way because they are flourishing right now. They got a great local coach there that's doing a great job. But I wanted to go back, and Millsy, my buddy there from Ferris, like, we need you in Vegas. Would you come? I said, fucking rights, I'm coming to Vegas. it's the best city to play hockey in. It was 3 years of pure enjoyment. I loved the game, loved my coaches there, and the fans were wild. It was some of the best years of my life playing there. It was great.
So the fans in Vegas then are like what they are now, right?
Exactly.
Like it has not changed.
No, they loved hockey there. And I was, as soon as I heard they were putting an NHL team there, I'm like, that's going to be amazing. I knew it right from day one.
Yeah, that's one thing I really wanted to get into in your career is 3 years in Vegas. You were playing hockey there before it was the cool thing to do in Vegas. And just like, can you like, was there kind of like what we saw in the NHL with like the Golden Knights, or it's like a lot of teams have the road flu when they're playing in Vegas? Was it like that at the East Coast level? A lot of guys are showing up, maybe playing a little guilty.
Even worse. And then we play 3-3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, and you're just stretching at the red line. Like, how the hell do you guys play here year round? Like, just reeking like booze and just stinking. So we get one win on Sunday every week. But the production too, though, it's the city of entertainment, and we had an amazing president and Billy, and he put in a show between periods. It was like just like they do now. We'd have magic shows and like dog shows and everything in between periods, and we had midnight games where people would come and like it was wild. It was a great time.
How is playing a game at midnight?
Oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I have my pregame meal at like 10 p.m.
Pregame skate at 1 o'clock. And that's the night before you go out because you're going to get your rest. So you play guilty, but not really. You get your rest in. But I made the boys pretty upset because couldn't go out after the game. It was about 3:30, so pissed everybody off.
Where did you guys play at the time? Because I know, like, at times they've played in like some of the hotels that had the rink attached to it, or like, where'd you guys play at the time?
We're playing right now where the Henderson Knights play in Orleans Arena, just off the strip across the road there. And it was a great facility, high end, top notch, like 7,000 people. And it was packed all the time. I think our average was around 5,500 every game. So yeah, it was a great spot.
You feel like it kind of grounded you a little bit having your fiance, maybe then wife, with you at the time? Kept you away from all the temptation out there, all the
first 2 years. Yeah, well, she'd visit every month, so she stayed home and worked the first 2 years. So I got to enjoy myself with the guys a bit, but it was hard on the, like, just the relationship different, like being apart for that long. So the third year she moved in with me there, and we had a great time. Go to a Cirque show, there's so much to do there. It was awesome. But you live about 20 minutes from the strip, and you only go down there when you know people in town. There's just so much other things to do in the city and in community. You don't really spend that much time down there at the strip, to be honest.
Do you have a favorite Vegas show that you go see?
The Beatles Love was really cool. The Cirque show there, that one was really neat. I like that one, yeah.
Well, when we make our Cold Hard Sports Talk trip to Vegas, we're going to have to go to that then.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah. Maybe a few edibles will help it too.
Now, 3 years in Vegas through 2011 through 2014. Is there a favorite story about the time in Vegas?
I think when our first year, we were really good that year. We lost in the finals, and I think the year-end party was so much fun that year. We had a lot of success. We had a great group of guys. We always were laughing every day. But I think we went to some new club named Moon that stayed up. It was open till, I think, 12 till 12. So we would put in a good shift there. That was a fun one, that's for sure.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. We all did, yeah.
So then 3 years in Vegas, and then you head back over to Europe playing with the Ligue Magnus, which is a league that doesn't get a lot of attention, but is like quietly a very good hockey league. That's the pro league in France. Played 3 years there. What was the decision to go to France?
Well, Vegas was folding. We didn't get to renew our contract with the Orleans Arena. So Billy, our president, tried to do everything to get us another rink, and it just couldn't happen. So we had to fold. So we were scrambling, looking for work. So I ended up getting an opportunity in Grenoble in France. Again, I worked all summer. I didn't get to train, so I wasn't ready when I got there. I had to work playing in the coast. You had to work in the summer. You know what I mean? You didn't make enough to do both. So I had to put in some time, save some cash, and then got there, and I wasn't in shape, and I got released. So my wife was working in London, England. So with her sister, I went there, and then got another call from Amiens, and I went there and played there for 3 years. And again, that was one of the best experiences I had. Great community, great city to play in, great fans, great people, and a ton of great memories there. We had our daughter there, and we loved it. We still have friends there we talk to all the time.
Was there any like culture shock, like different than playing in Slovenia, like with not knowing the language there and then moving after such a great time in Vegas to like just this new club with new people?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock, but like I said, the people were so friendly there and happy to have you. They wanted to give you a great experience. And I played with one of the guys. Two guys played at Union in Vegas with me, and one of their good friends from Union was playing in Amiens. And we had a great group of guys. So we had a lot of fun. Like Coburn was there, and we had a blast. It was a really good group, and it made it even better. So then, the culture shock part was a little bit different, but the language you knew a little bit more. Coming from Ottawa, you could speak a little French, but still they chirped the shit out of me. I couldn't speak it. After 3 years and living in Ottawa, they're just disturbed that I couldn't figure it out. But
because it's the Canadian French,
right? It doesn't work
it's like,
that way for me.
It's like the Quebec French. So like I've heard that before, that like people from France make fun of people from Quebec because the French is a little different, right?
Yeah, and I had our captain, Joel Champagne. He's Quebecois. He won't say he's Canadian. He's a proud Quebecer, and I love the guy. He's awesome. But like we were at a bar having a couple beers, and he's ordering us a few, and then the guy just starts speaking English to him. He goes, "I don't speak that shit French to me." He's like, "Motherfucker!" He got so mad. I'm French. I'm from Quebec. He got really fired up. I'm like, "Oh, calm down, bud. Calm down." Right. But yeah, it's the dialect is definitely different.
How's your French now?
Gosh, not good.
No,
not good at all. No.
Yeah, we talked to a couple of guys. Former guest on the podcast, Colton Waltz, is playing out there. We asked him how his French is, and he said "we."
Yeah. Nailed, yeah.
So, sort of unrelated to hockey, I want to ask, with having kids, having your daughter born in France, now having your son born in Austria, what's the idea for handling their nationality? Are they, do you think they're still going to consider themselves like Canadians? They're, born from, a Canadian, or is it going to be more about where they grow up, or is there any thought that's gone into that?
If they play hockey, that is.
Yeah, is your son going to represent Canada or Austria? We need to know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. No, but I think it does open doors for them. I think my daughter, she's Canadian, obviously, and for us, because we have a home there, and haven't been able to get back there because of this whole COVID thing, but she has her Canadian passport. She's Canadian, but when she turns 18, she can get her French nationality, EU passport. And I think that's something my son will be able to get, an Austrian passport as well. So that opens doors for them later on, being able to work over here or try different experiences for university or something like that. Just gives them more options, I think.
Yeah, that definitely something I was curious about. It's a part of the pro journey, playing different places and having the family go with you. So something we haven't been able to really ask anyone so far.
Yeah, no, it's fair. No, it's nice to give them these different world experiences, but you want to have roots too. So it's nice when we're in France for 3 years and Vegas for 3 years. You spend a little more time. It's tough when you go 1 year to the next to different spots. It could be hard on the kids for sure. That's why it's nice to have a home base for 4 months, maybe even 6 months, where they could stay and start school or come back early and finish school there. So they have the same friends and a little more repetition and familiarity for sure.
And then off the ice too, in your time in France, did you guys spend any time just sort of traveling around, seeing all the highlights of that sort of area of Europe?
Yeah, back when you could travel.
Yeah.
It was
Strange
nice.
times.
Yeah, you could pop over on a train down to Paris and then jump on a plane to Greece, Rome, anywhere, Barcelona, things like that. It was nice because we always had those 2 weeks off in November and then 2 weeks off in February during the season for a national break. So it was nice that the guys got to have those experiences together and see more of the world. That's the beauty of playing over there. You get to see things and experience things. That's definitely the plus side of it.
So then you played your 3 years in the Ligue Magnus, and then you transitioned to coaching. What was sort of like the thought process when you're realizing you were on the back nine there?
I think I was lucky to stay there for 3 years. I don't think I was really at the best that I had really anymore, but I got to stay. They were very loyal and very good people to me there. But then I was looking at the free agent market, and I also got a really good opportunity through the goaltending school that I worked with through Mike Lawrence at Pro Goaltending. He was in Lugano. He had a 3-year contract. And he said, I'm not going to be able to make it there. Will you go work, fill in for me for the training camp for a month and a half? I said, absolutely. I'll jump over on that, be a consultant for the club in Lugano. And we had Elvis Mizlurkins there at the time, who is now doing great with Columbus. And it was an awesome experience working with him and if the juniors as well. And just getting to see the other side of it and looking at everything from a coach's perspective instead of a player's perspective. And it really opened your eyes thinking like, Jesus, I should have figured this out a long time ago when I was a player. How was I so ignorant? Like what the betterment of the team really, you got to look at that just for success. Right. But after that, I took a job in China. Actually, I went over there, worked with the LA Kings, did a development program over there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we did development for the youth in Beijing, and that place, wow, it's something. It was quite the experience. So my whole family and I went over there for 2 years, and yeah, it was a different beast though. It's a different planet, that's for sure.
Now, you had mentioned earlier in your career, you'd kind of done some training and stuff like that. Did you notice a big difference between just like training athletes and working on skill development to actually becoming a coach?
Not much. I think a lot of it was just trying to build confidence and like working with young kids and goaltenders, going to different levels, making those jumps from junior to college or from college to pro. You're just giving them your experiences and trying to give them confidence, knowing that they're capable of doing it. And with that goaltending school, we worked with a lot of really good goalies like Subban, Colton Point, who was a Hobie Baker finalist. Who else? Like Ms. Lurkins, like I said, Sebastian Dom, he was a national goalie for Denmark. There was a few more I can't think of right now, but it was a good experience getting to work with pros like that every single day.
So you you later then in 2018, 2019 ended up back in the EBEL, the Ice Hockey League with Innsbruck, where you currently are. You spent 2 years as a goaltending or assistant coach, and then were named head coach for this season. Yeah. So was the idea always that you're kind of working towards being a head coach, or was that just an opportunity that came along?
It was the end game. I didn't think it would come this early in my career, to be honest. I think I got pretty lucky. They believed in me and gave me the opportunity. But I thought I'd have to move down a level to get that shot. But this league, it's a very good league with other great coaches. Greg Ireland and Balzano was the national coach for Italy. Dave Cameron coached in the NHL for years in Vienna. A lot of great coaches here and a lot of in-game changes and strategies. You got to keep your head on a swivel. And it was a lot for me my first year. I'll be honest, I make mistakes. Like it's definitely a big learning curve for me. And I thought I did all right. So I'm really excited about next season, taking what I learned from this year and just keep building myself and getting better. Just like as a player, you just try and continue to grow. So it's been a good run here.
So what was the toughest transition going, or the toughest part about the transition going from player to coach?
Well, actually, it was funny because Greg Ireland was in Lugano when I was there, and he said, "Welcome to the dark side." We were fucking, no. That's like, I guess, all right. I didn't really understand it. Like, yeah, you're not liked. You got to be the guy that has to be hard on the guys and get them going in the right direction. So you got to take the feeling out of it sometimes, and because you can't make everybody happy in that room. It's impossible. Guys have to buy into their roles and play at those roles at the best of their ability. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge as a coach. You need to make sure you get guys going in the right direction and hungry to give you more. So I think that was a big one. Just knowing that you can't be friendly with everyone and be their friend. You got to actually be their boss and get them to do what you need them to do to be successful.
Do you have any good, as a coach, any interactions with referees that might be some funny ones? Because I know there's some out in Europe, some interactions with some of those referees that can be quite the interaction.
I don't know. I don't want to get on here. I can get into trouble with the league.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of a battle this year because of COVID too. You'd see the same refs a lot.
Yeah.
So if you got on their bad side, you were in it for a night. But yeah, there's some good ones here for sure. Some great guys, but some too that are very new too this year because of the COVID. They lost a lot of their top refs to Switzerland, the top league there. They left, so we had a lot of new referees this year learning how to be number one refs or number two refs and linesmen too. So you had to be patient this year. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
How would you kind of describe your coaching style? Like, would you consider yourself like a player's coach? Would you consider yourself like a tactician, or is there any coaches too in the NHL or any other leagues you try and like model yourself after?
There's a lot of coaches I like. I like the way Torts is. It's just entertaining, but I can't coach that way. It's just not my personality. I like to play a fast game, an in-your-face type style. A little more gambling at times than we should, be more defensive, and I think that hurt us this year. So that's one thing I need to fix, that's for sure, when I look into recruiting this summer. But no, I like to make sure the guys know it's an open door policy, but if you're coming into the room, you better have answers too, not just problems. I want to make sure they're comfortable coming in here and talking to the coaching staff. But no, I like to play fast. I like to have offense. That's the way the game is these days, but need to dial into D zone a little bit more next year, that's for sure.
Your assistant coaches are maybe tapping you on the back saying, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, probably. Yeah.
What do you think if you can like boil it down to like a player or two? What was the biggest gamble you were taking that you're kind of insinuating at here?
You mean like recruiting wise, or?
You just mentioned that like sometimes you take some gambles that didn't pay off with coaching. Like,
yeah, I think
like
it would be just like being a little more aggressive on the forecheck at times than we should have been, sitting back, things like that. Just trying to be too aggressive maybe. And
so you're not talking about like Patrick Waugh-esque pulling the goalie with 13 minutes left.
No, I wouldn't be doing that. Not like that.
Maybe it was something about like a goalie head coach where it's like, 13 minutes sounds pretty good.
yeah. It depends how your goalie's playing, I guess. We'll see.
Is there any players from your team in Innsbruck who should keep an eye out to maybe pick up if they get an NHL contract? Some fantasy hockey sleepers.
I don't know, coming out of this league, I know there's a lot of good talent in this league. It's a lot like the AHL, but I think the guys that come over here, they got sick of North America and trying to make a name over here next. And there's a little more money over here for guys that are able to do so, plus the experience. But I really liked some of the guys we had this year. Campini was one. He played outstanding both ends of the ice, was one of the league scorers, top scorers the whole season. And yeah, he's definitely going to have some good contracts coming his way this summer, that's for sure.
And what's the dream at this point? Is the dream finding a way to coach in like North America and the NHL or AHL, or is it just you have a place that's good, so you're going to stay there until it's not good?
Well, for me, I always want to move on and be better and make it to the highest level. My goal is the NHL one day. I don't know how long it'll take, but that is the end goal. So reach for the stars, land on the moon. So like if you asked me 4 years ago, I'd be a head coach at this league, I would have said you're nuts. But here I am now doing everything I can to be successful here, and I have another year to do so. But yeah, I'd like to work my way back to North America. I'd love to coach at the NCAA level. That's one place I'd like to try and get into. It's a great brand of hockey, competitive, and it's fun to also be a mentor to those kids at school and at the rink and through life. And I think that's something I'd be very good at. And It's something I'll try and track down the road for sure.
Who knows? Maybe with an early playoff exit this year, Vegas will let go of DeBoer and bring you on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a good reputation in that city anymore.
Any last questions here, boys?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good personally. I just want to thank you for taking time out of your evening.
I do actually have one more. It's typically one
Okay.
Gorzy likes to ask, so I left it to him.
Yes.
But I'll jump in and take it if Gorzy doesn't want to.
Go for it.
One thing we like to ask different players, and especially goalies who are kind of known for not being having the most bolts on the team. Maybe
screws loose.
Screws loose, yeah.
Do you have any weird or strange superstitions or habits from your playing career or even your coaching career?
I remember when we'd score, I'd have to go touch the corners. It was just a weird superstition I had. And I knew I looked like an idiot doing it, but I just kept doing it anyway.
Did you remember how that started?
Pardon?
You remember how it started?
Yeah, I just take 3 steps hard to the corner, hit the corner at the top of my stick, then beeline it to the far side, hit the other one, and then tap my post.
So you're not just like coasting, you're doing a sprint back and
just
forth.
Flying, yeah. I was fired up every time.
What made you do that in the first place?
I have no idea. It just screws loose. No idea.
That's a strange one for sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think I shared it, to be honest.
Like, you see goalies do it. You see goalies go for the skate around the corners, keep the legs loose, whatever. But the full-on sprint is one I haven't seen before. I like it.
Yeah, you had to hurry up before they dropped the puck. So,
all right, Mitch. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. Best of luck going into next year with Innsbruck. We're going to be cheering you on, hoping for a lot of success to come your way. Best of luck to you and the family.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me. All the best.
All right. Cheers.
Ciao, guys.